A big EIDL loan email will be coming to you possibly next week. This is LALATE. Thanks for tuning in for Friday. Big updates and big exclusives here. As always, like and subscribe to this channel, but let's get right to it. We're also answering your questions about the EIDL loan. Big exclusives today, as you may have read them earlier on LALATE, both about the EIDL loan and the EIDL grant. Wow. So on the EIDL loan, LALATE learned and exclusively reported today that individuals who receive the grant will be receiving loan information 2 to 3 weeks thereafter. So if you are one of the viewers that received that grant, that EIDL grant last Friday, you could be receiving the EIDL loan email next week. How does this work, and what should you expect, and what is the timeline? So, for example, if you received the EIDL grant last Friday, within 2 to 3 weeks, you should be receiving an email. The email will be coming from SBA, LALATE has learned, and the email will indicate to you the next step. It will basically send you to a portal, and at that portal, you'll have to sign in and enter a username and establish a username and password. And at that point, you're queued up to start the EIDL loan process. The welcome emails basically are backlogged about 2 to 3 weeks, but representatives tell LALATE that they are relatively on schedule. So if you received your EIDL grant earlier than last week, you should be already receiving this welcome email shortly thereafter. Now, if you have not received your EIDL grant, once you receive your grant, then add 2 to 3 weeks thereafter, and you should be receiving this email. LALATE yesterday detailed what happens with the loan process. There's a series of documents that you'll be asked to submit, but today, LALATE learned more about what you should expect from the EIDL loan. First of all, the terms are the same for everyone. The interest rate will be a fixed rate, approximately mid 3%. Second, the maturity time will be the same for everyone, 30 years. Finally, as reported yesterday on LALATE, the loan allows you to repay it or return it with no early penalties. So there you go. So if you've been wondering about the EIDL loan and how long it takes and what you should look for next, the answer is very simple. Once you've received your grant, then add 2 to 3 weeks, but it seems to be processing within 2 weeks. And you'll be notified by email from SBA to go to the portal, set up a username and password, and at that point, it'll queue you up to proceed in the process. As reported yesterday on LALATE, just because you received a grant does not qualify you automatically for a loan, but it certainly puts you in the process. Now, a lot of you in your comments today have already started your EIDL loan. So your comments, as always, will be helpful to other viewers. As a result, if you have any questions or comments, drop them below, and we may feature them in tomorrow's video. But a lot of the comments we received today are quite helpful because they're from individuals who have already started the loan process. All right, let's jump to Jeep Willie first. I got some interesting info yesterday for the SBA loan, not the grant. I was declined for the loan because of credit score, possibly. I called like my man suggested last night, but they couldn't give me any information even though I asked for a Tier 2 agent. Yes, some people are hearing that. But what Jeep Willie adds thereafter is quite interesting. He says you have to be at least a 570 experience score to get the loan. I was just under that, unfortunately, for other reasons, which I'm not going to state in today's video. But he alleges that you have to be at least a 5.7 experience score to qualify for the loan. So just because you got the grant doesn't mean you're going to get the loan. But what is the threshold? Now, I will give you a heads up as to where these comments go today, but a lot of the comments say that it's based upon the personal credit score that they're pulling, and that if it is below a certain level, as Jeep indicates 570, that loans are being denied. D says, update from an SBA rep. I asked about the loan portion of the EIDL, not the grant, and how the majority of people are wanting the loan but aren't given the option. Reps said the loans are still getting worked on. Loan portion is weeks behind. So because you got the grant doesn't necessarily mean you're denied for the loan. You just wait for the loan officer to email you, and then you can accept or deny the loan, just as LALATE had reported. So just because you have the grant doesn't mean you're going to get the loan, but you'll be sent an email that'll indicate to you whether you qualified for the loan or not. You can accept or decline the loan. I also asked about the PPP. So apparently if you got the PPP loan and haven't heard from EIDL, you're not eligible for the advanced grant. They don't want you to double dip on forgiveness funds. But if you receive the EIDL grant first, you're still eligible for PPP. That is a question that a lot of you have asked on this channel. And today we're actually going to be doing a PPP video. We haven't done one since week 1 of this channel. And yes, in the PPP application, it asks whether you have received EIDL funds. Most of you had not received them at the time. Robert S. says, does anyone have any real-time examples of people that got the EIDL loan portal invite and were asked for all these forms and documentation? Because I haven't heard many asked for anything and got the loan approved. Just the short online form went live, and I'm talking about the loan, not the grant, and not the PPP loan. Great question. If you got the EIDL loan, and you got it approved, and you got the 30-year fixed, and you got the interest rate fixed, drop in the comments what you were required by the EIDL loan officer to provide, and that's how we'll learn. As he asks, what did you have to provide if you got the EIDL loan? All right. Hector says, in previous videos we talked about this, and it'd be nice if you encourage people to partake and notice the comments. What does SBA use for credit check? I keep on hearing people receive or not receive a credit check. However, nobody has stated which company. I think it does matter whether SBA uses all 3 companies or is tied to just one company. I've heard twice that individuals had their scores checked on Equifax. However, getting more information about this would keep some anxiety issues away. Good point. So we heard that earlier comment today from someone said the Experian score. We have certs from Equifax. If you've had your credit checked because of the EIDL loan, drop in the comments which credit agency you see was doing that. Forever Young says, can I decline the EIDL loan? Applied and got a $1,000 grant. Just wanted the grant, not necessarily need the loan. Yes. Yes, you can. Larry says, I applied on March 30th, pulled my credit on April 18th, grant in bank on April 20th, still no email about the loan. Called Tier 2 rep on working on. Anything else I have to do? No. Larry, as indicated, you should really think about 2 to 3 weeks out. And if we're coming up on that time, then give them a call. But according to SBA, as indicated exclusively on LA Today, they think they are up to date. They don't think they're backlogged. They think they have a lot of work, but they really do believe that they're getting things done they're getting that email out 2 to 3 weeks about the loan. Tonya says, thank you so much. The channel has been incredibly helpful. Navigating all of this has been highly confusing. The information about these forms necessarily, if you aren't actually ever contacted about an EIDL loan, was very informative. Well, thank you, Tonya. D says, answering a question about how I heard the loan officer hasn't been in since April 21. Oh, here we go. So this is quite fascinating. Yesterday, we featured Dee's comment. And she had said in a video the day before that she had heard the loan officer had not been in since April 21. And we said, we don't know how Dee knows this. So Dee, do you know it? Drop in the comments, and here she goes. So answering your question, how do I know that the loan officer hasn't been in since April 21 through Tier 1 representative? The rep said for my state, the system crashed. Oh. So the loan officer had to download each application individually since it held up. I was asked when they started the approval. She said a few days ago. I applied on March 31st, so it's taking way too long to get the answers. They pulled my credit on 4/22. I would have thought I got a grant or loan by now. I filed an EIDL in a different state. I had to check the status of the application. But somehow they just got the grant yesterday when I've been in process someone else she knows got their grant yesterday when I've been in the process mode since 422 and have no answers. I feel like I'm just getting the runaround. I called today to just double check the errors, and they told me the systems were down and only general questions can be answered. Nothing about status was available. You know, hard to say. LA can certainly report that if you call SBA in the same day and talk to 3 different people, you can clearly get 3 different answers. And they can actually say, how dare the other person say that to you? They have been known to say that. The question is, which of the 3 answers is the better one to believe on? But this is quite fascinating. So D is stating that allegedly the system crashed. An officer had to download the forms and start to do them manually, but has also been out of the office. Boy, don't know. I guess she's referring to the grant and the loan, but yeah, I guess she's referring to people who had still not gotten their grant money. But that's fascinating. Jay replies back to D, what state are you in? And Nancy answers the same. Well, hey, D, what state are you in? I'm in Texas. I haven't gotten anything. D replies, Pennsylvania. So if you're watching this video and you're in Pennsylvania, boy, what an issue. Malio says, I talked to an SBA rep, and the rep reinforced that the SBAs are getting things streamlined through the loan process. It's been 2.5 weeks since I got my $10,000 grant. So that's great news. As we said, if it's been 2 to 3 weeks since you got your grant, you should be getting that email. SBA has indicated now, and LA has learned exclusively, that the email will arrive in your inbox no later than 3 weeks, but could be as early as 2 weeks after you get the grant. As always, drop your comments, and we may feature them in tomorrow's channel. There's another video on EIDL grant today, and we'll be featuring some more different subjects today, including sports coverage, which LALATE has been doing since day one 10 years ago. So join LALATE as we expand our coverage in the coming days. As always, subscribe and stay tuned.